So Helldivers 2 is out and it's performing beyond expectations.
Firing orbital strike.
Attention, citizens. The tide of war is turning against us.
This whole AAA thing, it ain't gonna work out forever, man. AA seems to be the way forward, and I think we're starting to see the shift that these numbers are just irrefutable at this stage.
Dude.
So Power World comes out, absolutely dominates. Absolutely dominates. It's on both Xbox and PC. Helldivers comes out and it's on PC and PlayStation and dominating. And both Power World and Helldivers have a massive PC player base, a huge PC player base. So PC is 2 times the sales of PlayStation. Releasing games day one on PC would increase a lot of sales and profits. The PC market is much bigger than the console market. That part is true. Okay? We've seen a lot of people that have made the shift from console to PC, and that number's only going to keep getting wider and wider and wider. These games are both below the $70 US that AAA games are sold for, okay? On top of that, so they are sold cheaper and they're available on PC day one. Day one. But the best part about both of these games, they're good.
They're good.
They're fucking enjoyable, good games. Helldivers had a little bit of a rocky launch, but they seem to have fixed that really quickly to the point where it is now mostly positive on Steam. At first, it was mixed because they just weren't ready for that many players. But unlike Payday 3, they managed to address it and fix it really quickly. So we've seen that when a PlayStation game finally goes to PC, they get pretty big player bases, you know, like the Spider-Mans, your God of War and all that type of shit. This game has outsold God of War on Steam at launch. God of War was the biggest PlayStation game to go to Steam, and Helldivers has beaten it. You go up to the average person down the street, ask them if they've heard of Helldivers, and ask them if they heard of God of War, they're going to say God of War. And this just came along and just blew them out of the way, man. Launching your games day one on PC, as well as your console, is the way forward. It's the correct thing to do. It definitely helps when they're both good games, Power World and Helldivers, and it definitely helps when they're below the AAA retail price. It's a winning formula. It's an absolute winning formula, and it is sold with more than 1 million sales already. And it's fucking good.
Well, these AA games, what they're doing now that I've noticed is they're doing what the AAA games aren't doing, whereas they're actually listening to the people. Like Helldivers, we've been asking for this type of game for ages now. You're like a 4-person fucking go in with a team, kill a bunch of aliens, fuck off type of thing, right? Like the Warhammer game, right? We've been asking for something good like this for ages. Now people have been asking for a Pokemon game like Power World for ages. A lot of these AA companies, they're just doing what people are asking for as well, which helps massively. So
I think when it comes to AAA, it's because they've invested so much money. I mean, again, $315 million into Spider-Man 2 is they've invested so much money. Okay, Spider-Man 2 is probably a bad example because Insomniac went down the ESG route. But they have this personal feelings about it where, like, if you criticize the game, you're criticizing them because there's so much money invested into it. Whereas these guys are just like, okay, let's see what the people have to say. Like, Power World servers are so expensive that they might be going broke, but that just means Microsoft's going to step in and go, hey, man, let's cook. So Helldivers 2 was released on PlayStation 5 and PC recently, and it quickly became one of the most talked about topics in gaming, despite some teething issues that brought down the immediate reviews of the game on platforms like Steam. The resiliency of the team deploying hotfixes cannot be denied, and with that, the game became PlayStation's biggest launch on PC to date. Now that's saying something. However I and you and other people may feel about Spider-Man and God of War, there's no denying that they're juggernauts. Okay. And this just came along and just said, get the fuck out of the way. It's fucking doing really well. And they did the other thing that I really like as well is, and I think I talked about this on Friday, is when a company comes out and they say, okay, we know there's a problem. We're looking into the problem. Here's an update on the problem. The problem's fixed. Transparency is one hell of a thing and it goes really far. It's when you're saying something and it falls on deaf ears is when people start to freak out. Just one little tweet or something of going, we're looking into it. And just keeping people updated, it can go really far. Now, that only gets you to a point where people will start to become impatient if it's taken too long. Whereas Helldivers is, they're fixing it as quickly as they can, and they mean as quickly as they can.
There was already a little patch by the time we had played it. So they're releasing it. As much as I don't want like day one patches and all that shit, because that shit's fucked. If it's to fix the game because your servers are laggy and you're actually fixing it and it's not a fucking pay day 3 situation where we can't even fucking play it for like 2 weeks practically. It was practically 2 really, and we're getting nothing, and you're coming out wearing the fucking Payday 2 merch. You know, we start to fucking freak out about your current game. Whereas these cunts are like, we're fixing it, trust us. It's already fucking fixed. Now, I would have preferred if it just came out good, but at least they fixed it quick, and it wasn't completely broken. It was still playable at launch. It was just, you know, it had some bugs.
Had some bugs that really needed to be fixed. Hours ago, the CEO of Arrowhead said on Twitter that Helldivers 2 had a hit around 1 million sales, which is a huge milestone after just 3 days on the market. Now, I know people, I see this all the time, man. People go, oh, 1 million sales? Spider-Man did that in like 2 hours. You're like, yeah, but that's Spider-Man. Everyone in their fucking dog has heard of Spider-Man.
Yeah, not many people have heard about Helldivers 2, and they're starting to hear about it now because of how well it was doing.
So on Steam, Helldivers 2 is listed as the top-selling game at present, beating out Power World, Enshrouded, and Counter-Strike 2.
Those are the big heavy hitters this year.
Enshrouded is another one. Enshrouded is another one that's fallen into this category that is like a AA game, is not being sold at the full AAA retail price and shit as well. And it's actually in the top 10 of Steam players right now, like this second. So the CEO took a moment to out to admirably defend Sony when one user claimed that the firm's greedy corporation that just wants to see 10 million sales from Arrowhead. He said, our friends at PlayStation are gamers like you and me. We all want great games on the market, and Helldivers 2 has provided exactly that, man. I seriously think this is a good game. All I want to do is play it. I want to put more time into this game, man.
Starship Troopers, that game.
It's Starship Troopers. You do ODST drops. Like, you literally do an ODST drop from Halo, and your guy looks like they're kind of like from Destiny. The sub-armor looks like Warhammer a little bit.
And I think it's really cool. As a community, you fight a planet together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You actually...
Apparently, as well though, Mozza, apparently, if you're in your spaceship just looking over a planet and someone calls an orbital strike, you can actually see the strike.
Oh, that really?
Yeah.
So I've seen that, but I thought it was just a cutscene. So I was seeing that a couple times when we played. So that was actually a player calling that. That's fucking crazy. I was looking in space and I just seen this big laser just like strike the planet, right? And I'm like, oh, that's sick. And I thought it was just like, you know, when you're looking into space, I thought it was just a little part of the cutscene. But that's an actual player doing that. That's sick as fuck. And I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but the actual developers, we talked about this Friday and we were questioning how much they were actually doing it. Is they're actually going in and making it so the mission changes and stuff, and more enemies spawn in certain areas, and they're actually going into people's game and doing that. They actually
like a dungeon master type of thing.
Yeah, they've actually posted some videos on their Twitter, kind of doing that stuff, and it's actually, I can see them doing it heavy at the start now, but I think it'll kind of dwindle out as the game goes on.
It's just too
much. Yeah,
too much. You need like a million people.
I still think it's cool because especially when they do special events, right? Say if there's a special event and they do like a alien queen planet, and and it's like a special planet and it's for a special event, they could just focus on that one for a certain amount of time. That'd be cool. You know, it's just a big event. It's the fucking alien. It's almost as big as the planet, and you gotta fucking destroy it. And there's
like a raid boss type of thing.
Yeah, that would be fucking awesome.
I've seen a lot of people also being like, hey, I heard there was like robots you can fight. Where are they? And then they kind of got roasted. They're like, you do realize there's 2 sides to the war map. And they're like, oh.
Yeah, because we were just looking at the alien side.
Yeah, and the left side's got all the robots.
Yeah, it's like, brother.
Yeah, so Helldivers 2, man.